the questions to start. You indicated that you had some kind of hardship that would make it difficult for you to sit on a case this long for 3 weeks?
Yes, I do. I apologize. I'm kind of emotional.
Okay.
I'm a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter is 30. She's been diagnosed with cancer. She has an appointment this Thursday at Moffitt. She's to have a blood test and a scan done. And then on the 9th, which is, I believe, next Friday, we go to see Dr. Tortolo at Moffitt Cancer Center to get the results of what the outcome and stuff will be. I vowed when my mother passed of cancer and my older sister died of cancer that I would be there for her for every result and everything that happened. A child shouldn't have to go through this. It should be a mom.
Okay, and I'm sorry you're going through this. I'm sorry for your daughter.
I wasn't expecting the 3-week possibility.
Well, I'm sorry.
Apologize.
I'm sorry to hear that you and your daughter are going through this. And basically, do you think if you were to be selected as a juror in this case and you had to miss your daughter's appointments, I think it was like this Friday and the 9th, would you, this Thursday, excuse me, would you be able to give 100% attention to this case and to listening to the evidence in this case? Or
Date I am, I don't know that I could do that.
You don't know that you could do that?
No.
Okay.
I have been very concerned about her. I also, I had a miniature or mixed chihuahua that was just attacked by a Rottweiler and had 15 stitches put in it. And I have a neighbor attending to my dog at home now for me, so I've had a stressful weekend also to add to it.
All right, I'm sorry to hear that.
Number one, though.
Doesn't sound like things are going well. You indicated that you have some knowledge about this case. Can you tell us what that is? Can you tell us?
Television and newspaper, I've watched it and have remember seeing it on there when it was happening and took place.
Okay, what can you tell us? Can you tell us in as much detail as you can what it is that you saw and what it is that you know about this case?
I remember the incident happening and hearing about the son. I remember was named Bo, I believe, and the children being in the home being shot. The mother being found and being shot. I remember watching it on the television with her being handcuffed and very shaky, trembling, incoherent. I would say possibly shocked, I guess. I'm not quite sure what you would say she was. I remember they're taking her away, and then of course it was consistently in the newspapers, a lot of articles and stuff in regards to the findings and the father being in the service and not being at home.
Okay.
Students in Tampa Palms being very upset at the schools. I was and working in the school system at the time, so not at that area there though.
Okay. Has that left you with any fixed opinions about the case, either guilt or innocence, or about what happened?
Yes, I guess so. I would feel she's guilty.
Okay. Is that an opinion that, well, let me ask you this. If you were instructed to, let's say you were selected as a juror in this case and you were instructed to set aside your preconceived ideas about this case and set aside your feelings about guilt and set aside everything that you may have learned about this case, could you do that and basically come into this courtroom with a clean slate and decide guilt or innocence based on what you hear in the form of evidence in this case?
Probably not. I think she's guilty.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Any questions?
No, Judge, I have a motion.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step out.
Thank you.
She's exited the courtroom.
Judge, I would move to strike juror number 43 for cause. No objection.
43 is a record cause and motion to defense without objection. 44 indicates knowledge and hardship.
Good afternoon, sir. You've indicated that you would have a hardship sitting on a case that would go 3 weeks. Can you tell us what that is?
My wife took 4 months off from maternity leave. She's back to work. We're only working about 4 days a month until the main income, and 3 weeks is just a long time to go without really any income in the home.
Okay. Are you self-employed or do you work for a company?
No, I work for a company.
Would they be able to compensate you for the 3 weeks?
They do not.
Okay. Do they compensate for any of the time?
No, I used all my vacation and sick leave for the maternity leave as well. I took as much time off as possible.
Okay. Do you have any savings or investments that you could rely on over the 3 weeks?
I do, yes.
Okay. Would that be able to get you through the 3 weeks until you can get back to work?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say you were selected to be a juror in this case and listen to the evidence in this case, knowing that you're going to have to, and we understand it's a hardship, but understanding that, if you were selected as a juror in this case and you have to listen to the evidence in the case, listen to witnesses, decide their credibility, would you be able to give 100% attention to your duty as a juror and listen to the facts of the case, or would you be distracted by the fact that you were losing money?
No, I mean, I'd still be able to focus and dedicate myself. It's just not an ideal situation, but I understand the capacity of what the situation is.
Sure. And we understand it's a hardship, but sometimes it's necessary. You've indicated that you've had some media exposure to this case?
Oh, yeah, I've just seen little blurbs on the news. Very little info that's given out.
Okay, can you describe what it was that you saw on these blurbs?
The main footage that always seems to be shown of her just shaking uncontrollably. Little tidbit just about what was actually done, no real information. And just yesterday on May 9, there was a quick little piece about she'll be tried sane as opposed to, I guess, mentally incompetent or incapacitated or something like that.
Okay. The video where you see her shaking, has that left any kind of impression on you?
Not really. I mean, it's a pretty intense situation, I can imagine. Body shakes under shock.
Okay. The blurbs that you've heard in the news, do you remember any of the facts of the case or any of the facts that you learned about the case?
No, it's one of those things where I really never paid a whole lot of attention to it. Anyway, involved me.
Okay. Now, what you've seen in the media and on these blurbs, would you be able to set those aside, and any opinions that you formed about this case, set those aside and listen to the facts of this case as it would be presented to you in court?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any doubt in your mind about that?
No.
Okay. Now, one of the an important concept in our judicial system is the idea of the presumption of innocence. Have you heard that? That a person is presumed innocent, and that it's the state's burden to prove that the person's guilt or to prove the person's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with all that?
Yes.
Okay. Knowing that, would you be able to set aside any opinions, anything you saw about this case, and presume that Ms. Schenecker is presumed innocent at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with that?
What?
Do you agree with that at this point she's presumed innocent, that the presumption of innocence is with her?
I guess in the way the law is written, yes.
Okay. If I can have 1 second. Thank you, sir.
Main Clark.
Good afternoon, sir. Have you in fact formulated any fixed opinion about guilt or innocence in this matter?
From the media attention that I've seen, it's minimal. The innocence plea surprised me earlier today because I really don't understand what will be presented over the next few weeks as to prove it. But I understand the idea of having to hear the facts to be proven. But I mean, if I were to just sit at home and watch it, I would probably say it seems like an open and shut case that she did it.
Would it be fair to say that you would be able to set that aside in order to, if you were selected to be on this jury, set whatever you might think aside and just listen to the evidence as presented in court, as the judge suggested earlier?
Yes.
So in terms of some kind of a fixed opinion, I take it it's not so firmly entrenched in your mind that you can't dismiss it and consider what's brought to your attention?
Under the circumstances, if I can be persuaded or be shown that the information or what I've seen at home is minimal and just uninformed, I guess you could even say, because knowledge has probably been released to the public. And so I have to come into it with an open mind.
Okay. You seem a little reluctant about you'd have to come into it.
Well, I mean,
I think that's what you were...
I think, you know, you sit at home and you see something on the news and you kind of make a hard opinion, but then when you're sitting here and you understand the ramifications and just the magnitude of it all and just the way the system works, I feel like I'm a pretty open-minded person. You know, I have hard opinions, but it doesn't mean I'm not open to hearing things to sway me.
So if you have a hard opinion on this case, you can set it aside?
I wouldn't say I have a hard opinion at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I have nothing further.
Okay, thank you, sir. You may step out. Next is the court.
Judge, I have your motion.
No motion as well.
All right, thank you. Number 45 indicates knowledge and hardship.
Good afternoon, sir. You've indicated that you have a hardship sitting a case that would last for approximately 3 weeks. Can you tell us what that is?
It's work.
Okay. And what kind of work do you do, sir?
Security for Chief Juarez.
Okay. I take it you're with a company?
I am with the company.
Okay. If you were not to be selected as a juror in this case, would they pay you for the time that you miss?
No, they won't pay.
Okay. Will they pay any of the time?
They don't pay nothing.
Okay. And I take it you need your job to cover your bills?
Pretty much.
Mortgage or rent? Would that be one of the things?
Mortgage, if you want to call it that.
Okay. Do you have any other sources of income?
No, I don't.
Any savings that you could fall back on for 3 weeks?
I got savings. Can't dive into it.
And I believe I would agree that I think we'd all hate to dive into our savings, but if you had to,
I've done it many a times before.
but if you had to, would you be able to do that?
If I had to.
Okay. Let me ask you this in regards to the hardship. Well, would your job still be there in 3 weeks if you had to be here for a jury too?
I don't know. I had a little issue a couple of years ago. I took vacation, hadn't taken vacation for 5 years. The place that I was at folded. They had another company in-house.
Okay.
And I decided to take 3 weeks because that's what I couldn't make.
Okay.
And when I got back, they said, "Oh, I thought you quit." So my insurance and everything was just totally screwed up.
Okay. Would you feel more comfortable if you called maybe somebody at your company to make sure?
Well, I know the answer. I've already argued with them about what can we do.
Okay. Would they hold your position for you?
They would hold it for, what they say, 30 days.
30 days. Okay. Let me ask you this. If you had to be on this jury and you had to give service for, let's say, this week, next week, and the week after, would you be able to give 100% of your attention to this case?
Yes, I could.
Okay. All right. And you've indicated that you've had some exposure via media about this case. Can you tell us, in as much detail as you can,
Well,
what you know about the case?
from when it first happened, I heard about it on the news, plus in the paper, plus I've known a few of the police officers, and I'm not saying that they were there,
Okay.
So good for the work I was doing.
Okay. These police officers, were they with the Tampa Police Department?
They were Tampa Police, Hillsborough County, just, hearsay.
Okay. Was it any of the people that were actually on scene?
No, they weren't, that I know of.
Okay. If you can you tell us what you discussed with the police officers?
It's just, well, actually, where was it? Because I didn't catch where. The New Tampa. I'm like, because my daughter, she was dating at the time.
Okay.
She was dating quite a few or not dating quite a few. She knew a couple of them was one of the officers, but he wasn't involved with it.
Okay. From your conversations with these officers, did you form any opinions about the case?
No, I didn't make any opinion. It was just a heartache that I just don't like children being harmed in any kind of way.
Okay.
Adults, they can fend for themselves. Kids, I don't.
Okay. The media that you saw, I think you indicated you read the newspaper, saw it on TV.
Newspaper, saw it on the news, just a quick deal on it. And I couldn't even tell you exactly what was all said at the time. But it was like hitting home.
What facts did you get from the news, specifically about the case?
It's just a police officer had an issue, supposedly with her kids, and went off in deep end.
Okay. Did you get any information about how this all allegedly occurred?
No, I try to stay away from it.
Okay. Did you see any videos or any photographs of Ms. Schenecker in the newspaper or on TV?
I've seen at the time really never took any real major notice to it.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I saw it this morning on the news. And on the news.
Okay. What exactly did you see this morning?
They were talking about the trial, and the person painted her photo on the TV.
Okay. Specifically, did you see any videos?
Didn't see any video except for the one person that was standing out in front of the courthouse.
Okay. Based on what you've seen and read about this case, have you formed any fixed opinions about this case?
I do have an opinion due to kids involved. I'm in the negative on the feel towards anything. I would say total guilty, and I wouldn't even feel bad if they went to the death penalty.
Okay. Is that an opinion that you feel that is a fixed opinion, that it's something that you could not set aside?
Not really. I'd have to really weigh it.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. If you were selected as a juror in this case, you would be asked to set aside your opinions or what you've learned about this case, leave it outside this courtroom, and decide this case based on what you hear inside the courtroom from the witness stand. Would you be able to do that?
I could.
Okay. Do you think what you've learned or your opinions would affect your ability to be fair and impartial in this case?
Pretty much like with my son-in-law, when it comes to kids, it's just a cut, dry, guilty. That they are proven guilty.
Okay.
And it's full punishment. Then I agree with my son-in-law on that.
Okay, but would you be able to, I guess it's maybe...
I would have to be proven towards, everything.
Be able to set aside what you've heard about this case and any opinions you've formed and come in here and listen to the evidence objectively and be a fair and impartial witness to both sides.
I could.
Okay. Have you heard of the concept of presumption of innocence?
Right.
Okay, that as the defendant sits here right now, she's presumed innocent.
Right.
Do you agree with that? There's no evidence presented against her?
Evidence, yes, I can agree with that.
Okay. Do you accept that?
I accept it.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you.
Do you have reservations about your ability to accept the idea of presumption of innocence?
I would have to be proved, no doubt about being innocent. I mean, it would have to be a good, some kind of way of proving it to me that, why.
Now, earlier you said that you have a fixed impression of this already based on your... Okay, and I think you mentioned that total guilt and wouldn't mind seeing the death penalty. Did I misquote you?
You're right.
And you have that fixed impression as we speak now before we get started.
That's where I'm having to say I need to, see the proof.
Okay, and when you say see the proof, are you referring to seeing the proof of the total guilt or proof that somebody would change your impression?
Change my impression.
Okay, so you can't set aside that impression until somebody...
I can set it aside, be, dead on focused for it, and to be honest, we'll weigh it one way or the other.
The reason I'm asking these questions, I'm not trying to, make it hard for you, but it sounds to me like you have some reservations about whether you can set this aside. You're trying to be honest with the court, I understand that.
I'm trying to be honest, and whenever it's with children, I don't care, I raised my kids by myself. No help. And, yeah, they can drive you nuts, piss you off. But I did as well as I could, and I couldn't do no corporal punishment to them. Didn't want to, because I've been there. Where parents beat me.
And if I understood you correctly, you learned some of what you know about this case from talking to buddies of yours that are police officers that you've encountered in your employment?
Well, I was just brought up and really didn't want to even at the scene.
Okay. And I guess I kind of went about this backwards, but you mentioned that you thought there was some possibility that your job would be there for you for 30 days. Do you have a way of checking on that?
Well, that's their policy, 30 days. After 30 days, they have to have somebody still on post.
So in theory, then, if you end up being selected, if both sides say, hey, juror number 45, we need to have him on our jury, and you were selected to be on this jury, you'd still have your job at the tail end of it, by their own policy.
By their own policy.
Okay.
I'll probably have to argue with them about the insurance and all that again, but that's the way it goes.
You had to do that before.
Been there, done it.
All right, thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you, sir. You may step out. He's actually at the courtroom.
Judge, I was going to just strike through number 45 for the cause, and his response gave a distinct impression that he wasn't sure in his own mind he could ever set aside his feelings about the circumstances.
You need a judge?
No, Judge.
All right. Without objection, on defense motion, 45 is struck for cause. 46 indicates knowledge and hardship.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
You've indicated that you would have some kind of hardship if you had to be on a jury for 3 weeks. Can you explain that to us?
Sure. I teach middle schoolers, and at this time of the year, being out of the classroom for 3 weeks, especially given the fact that end-of-course exams are coming because I teach 8th graders, and they take high school credit classes.
Okay. Which school district do you work for?
Hillsborough.
Would you still get paid if you had to be here for 3 weeks?
I would.
Okay. Would they be able to find a substitute teacher to take over your classes?
This time of year, that's the problem. A lot of times what ends up happening is if we can't get a substitute, classes have to be split, which especially this time of year is not an optimum situation when we're trying to prepare for end-of-course exams.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, would it be more of a burden or a hardship on the students or on you?
Definitely a hardship on the students. It would be a hardship on me because I'm the type of teacher that I would make sure that I'm in the classroom in terms of getting lessons prepared, so I would be doing basically double duty, being here as well as getting lessons ready.
Okay. Let me ask you, if you were selected as a juror in this case and you had to come in and give your time to this case, would you be able to give 100% of your attention to listening to the witnesses and looking at the evidence in this case?
To be honest, it would be difficult because my mind is always going to be where my students are. I've been even doing that today, looking at my watch and going, oh, they're in second period, oh, they're in third period.
Okay, so it would be a distraction to you?
It would be a distraction.
Okay. You've also indicated that you've have some knowledge about the case. Yeah. Just tell us what you know the case in as much detail as you can.
I just remember when it first came out on the news, because I work with students and they're my passion, it definitely grabbed my attention. Being a mom of 4 children, it also grabbed my attention. The way this community reacted, the things that happened at the school in terms of the way that the students reacted to it. So that was brought back to my mind immediately.
Okay. Did you have any interactions with any students that either knew?
No, I did not.
Knew either child?
No, I did not.
Okay. What exactly did you learn about the circumstances or the alleged facts of what happened?
Just that both of them had been shot, killed by the mother.
Okay. Did you hear anything else about the case?
No, I did not, other than the father was deployed elsewhere. He was not at home.
Okay. Did you see any videos of the defendant or any photographs of the defendant?
I did quite a bit, and everything that's been on the news, I've been seeing it even as of late. Shots, I guess, as the trial was coming forward, I've seen the video clips of her.
Okay. Those video clips, have they left any kind of impression on you or led you to form any opinions about Ms. Schenecker?
It made me wonder concerning her mental state.
Okay. Any other impressions?
Just in my own mind, making me wonder what would push a parent so far to do such a horrendous thing, because again, I have 4 children.
Okay. Based on what you've seen about the case, have you formed any opinions about guilt or innocence or about the circumstances around this case?
It would take a lot to convince me that she was not guilty.
Okay. If you were chosen as a juror in this case and you were instructed to take that I guess, belief in your mind, or that opinion in your mind, and leave it outside this courtroom and ignore everything that you've heard about this case and just focus on the evidence presented in this courtroom, would you be able to do that?
I would do it to the best of my ability, but I could not guarantee that there would not still be some doubt in my mind.
Okay. You would not. Would you be able to come in here as a clean slate, and just look at the evidence in this case, or do you think if you heard something, if you did not hear something in this courtroom, but you heard it out in the media, you would also use that as...
I could disregard it, but I'm only human.
Okay, fair enough. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any questions, counsel?
Just briefly, Judge. Are the students still doing FCAT?
They are actually still taking ASCAT. 8th graders are taking ASCAT this week, so I almost put my name on there, but I'm not directly giving them FCAT. So I checked with my administration to make sure that it wasn't going to be a problem for me to come in today, and they said, no, go ahead.
So you're concerned that it's
That's correct. In the shop area.
Okay. If I understood you correctly, you said it would take a lot to convince you not guilty. So I take it you have some formed opinion, formed impression already as we speak?
Yes.
And we're asking you to be honest. It's not a right or wrong situation. Just trying to make sure we know how you feel. And you said, I think you can't give any kind of guarantee that you'd be able to set aside that opinion?
That is correct. I would do the best of my ability if I was asked to serve, but at the same time, the way that I feel right now, again, I'm very passionate about students. I have 4 children of my own, 3 sons and a daughter, so I can't picture myself being pushed to the point of doing something like that, so it makes it very difficult for me to understand how a parent could do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step up.
Thank you.
Respect jurors access to courtroom.
Judge, I would remember strike juror 46 because she indicated that because of her responsibilities as a teacher, particularly at this time of year, she would have difficulty focusing. She would always be thinking about her kids at school. And she also indicated that it would take a lot to convince her to vote not guilty. She has no guarantee she could offer to any of us that she could set aside her previously formed opinion about this case. No objection.
Without objection, we'll fix motion 46, strike response. 47, indicates knowledge and hardship. You can have a seat right there. They're going to ask you a few questions. Yes, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. You've indicated that you would have a hardship sitting on a jury that would go 3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to us what that is?
I'm self-employed, and I'm a realtor, and so 3 weeks could be 3 months worth of paychecks for me, which would put me in a financial distress.
Okay. Do you have any savings that you can fall back on?
Not a lot. I've already used it to stay ahead with the real estate market the way it is.
Okay. What kind of bills do you have?
I have 2 mortgages, I have a car payment, I have education payment for my son, and then your typical bills.
Okay. Is there anyone else that could help you financially for the 3 weeks? No.
I'm an only child that's estranged from my family.
Okay. Would you be Would you be in any risk of losing your home if you were not able to work for the 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you were selected as a juror in this case and you had to sit here for the 3 weeks. Would you be able to give 100% of your attention to this case?
No.
Okay. And you've indicated that you've had some knowledge of this case. Can you just describe that to us as...
I live in New Tampa.
Okay. How close to the alleged...
About 2.5 miles.
Okay. What is it that you know about this case?
I've watched it on TV from the day that it's been on the news.
Okay. Have you seen videotape of or photographs of Ms. Schenecker?
Yes.
Okay. Has that left an impression with you?
Yes, it has.
What's that impression?
I don't know if I can be partial.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Just one, Judge. I'm sorry, did you say you didn't know if you could be impartial?
I don't know if I could be, I don't know if I could be, I guess, I think that I'll probably be biased by what I saw.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I thought that's what you were saying.
That's what I said, yes, sir, I'm sorry.
I have nothing further, Judge.
You may step out. Thank you. Executive courtroom.
Judge, I would move to strike juror number 47 for cause.
No objection.
Without objection, 47 struck for cause. A motion to dismiss. Number 48 indicates knowledge and hardship.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You've indicated that you would have a hardship sitting on a case for 3 weeks. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, I'm scheduled to have sinus surgery on May 14th, and I have some pre-op that I have to have done for some heart issues. I have to have pre-op done before I have the surgery.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that you're going... I mean, in time, like...
It was about a month ago.
Okay. Is this something that could be moved?
It can be, I guess.
Okay. Is it something that you have to have on the 14th or, you know...
Well, I've already
I know, but...
been waiting for a while for it to come.
Okay, but it's not going to, I mean, necessarily put you at risk in health-wise?
No.
Okay. Would you be able to contact the physician or the doctor's office to see if they could move it back a couple weeks?
Yes.
Okay. You've also indicated, and the pre-op is related to that surgery, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You've also indicated that you've had some exposure to the facts of this case via the media. Can you just describe to us what it is that you know about this case?
Just basically what I've seen on the news.
Okay, and what was that you saw on the news?
Videos, and just basically what the news people had to say.
Okay, what is it about that, what they said that sticks out in your mind?
What sticks out?
Yes.
That there was a murder of 2 children, and that's basically about it.
Okay, are there any other facts about the case that you know about?
Other than her husband was away overseas, and that was about it.
Okay.
Too much.
You indicated that you've seen videos about this case. Can you describe those videos to us?
Just her being brought in, taken to or from, I guess, jail, in handcuffs and things like that, and
Okay.
put into vehicles. That's about it.
Okay. those videos, did that leave you with any strong impressions about Ms. Schenecker or about the case in general?
I really have no opinion on it.
Okay. Based on what you've seen in the media or what you've read about it, have you formed any opinions about this case, either guilt, innocence, or what happened?
I would have to say I had formed an opinion, yes.
Okay, what's that opinion?
I believe that she did it.
Okay. How strong would you describe this opinion? Is it something that is very, very strong, or is it you're not sure?
Very strong.
Okay. Is this an opinion that you could set aside, and if you were asked to set aside that opinion and look at this case like basically like a clean slate, like you had never heard anything about this case before?
I probably could.
Okay. You say probably. What is the reservation in that regards?
Probably not.
Probably not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, fair enough. Thank you, ma'am.
Any questions?
No, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step out. She's actually for...
Judge, I move to strike juror number 48 for cause. No objection.
Without objection, 48 is struck for cause of motion to dismiss. 49 indicates knowledge. Sir, they're going to ask you a few questions.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. You've indicated that you have some knowledge about this case. If you can you tell us in as much detail as possible what it is that you know about this case or have heard about this case?
All right. It's been through the news media, news print. What I've read is that the defendant did shoot two children. My understanding that she had been under medical care for mental health issues for a period of time. I know that her husband was a commissioned officer in the military and was overseas at the time. So I made assumptions that she was receiving medical care for mental health issues through the U.S. military.
Okay. Have you spoken to anybody about what you've heard about this case?
Just my wife.
Okay. Did you see any news reports on TV or on the internet about this case? Any videos?
On television.
Okay. Can you tell us specifically what kind of videos you saw of the defendant?
From the very beginning, when she was first arrested, I saw the condition of the individual. When she was arrested, when she went through arraignment, and certainly on some of the other times that she was shown in various stages of what was first going on with this court case.
Okay. Based on what you saw of those videos, did that leave you with some strong feelings or impressions about the defendant?
Yes.
What is that?
My impressions were that she was suffering from mental illness and perhaps was having difficulties due to medicines that were being administered to her as part of whatever therapy she was going through.
Okay. based on what you learned in the media, have you formed any fixed opinions about guilt or...
From the media, together with my own personal experiences while in the military, I have formed a very strong opinion.
Okay. And can you tell us what that is?
I believe the defendant is not guilty, and I feel very strongly about that.
Okay. And why is that?
From my experiences in the military, I became familiar with the mental health services that are offered to active duty personnel, to families, and above all, to veterans.
Okay. You've indicated that you have a very strong opinion. Is this an opinion that you could set aside, basically leave outside the courtroom and come in here with a clean slate and listen to the evidence in this case and then make a decision as to guilt or innocence?
Unfortunately, no.
Thank you, sir. No other questions.
Any questions?
Briefly, Judge. Good afternoon, sir. Hello. This morning, the judge read some instructions, preliminary instructions regarding what would be expected of a juror, and primary among them would be the ability to listen to the evidence that's produced inside the courtroom. Is your fixed opinion about this case such that you don't think you'd be able to follow the instruction of the judge just to listen to the evidence?
I would certainly listen to the evidence, but again, with the experiences I had when I was in the military, it would be very difficult to me to completely be objective about this. I guess you could say that in a way I'm probably biased, and it would be difficult for me. I'm sorry, but I firmly believe that my bias is such that I believe the defendant to be not guilty.
Thank you very much, sir. I have no other questions, Judge.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Thank you.
Prospective jurors acted in the courtroom.
Judge, has a fixed opinion about the case on murder stricken for cause.
The state agrees. All right. State defense motion number 49 struck for cause. Number 50 indicates knowledge of the case.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. You've indicated that you have some knowledge about this case. If you can, in as much detail as you can you please explain what that knowledge is?
It's been on the news constantly. Both children got shot. The mother was supposedly on drugs and alcohol. And she bought the gun 2 days prior, before that happened. That's about it.
Okay. Did you see this on the news, like the TV news or the internet?
TV news.
Have you read anything about this case?
No.
Okay. On the news reports, did you see any videos specifically of the defendant or any photographs of her?
Yes.
Okay. What is it that you saw?
Just photographs and pictures of her.
Did you see any videos?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Okay. Did that video leave any kind of impression on you, or have you formed, after watching that video, did you form any opinions about the defendant?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what that is?
Just because it's been constantly early on, I feel that she's guilty, but I'm not 100%. That's why I'm here.
Okay. Is this how strongly well, you said you're not 100%, how strongly would you describe this feeling?
It's just hard, strongly. It's hard for me to believe all the information that's been posted, that it can be, that much of it could be wrong.
Okay. Let's say you were asked to be a juror in this case. One of the things you'd be requested to do and expected to do is set aside what you've learned about this case and set aside any opinions that you formed about this case. Basically come in here with a clean slate, an open mind, be fair and objective. Would you be able to do that?
I'd like to say I think I could, but with the information and everything I've heard over the last 2 years, probably not. I wish I didn't hear all that.
Okay. So you basically think that you would not be able to focus on just the evidence that you heard in this courtroom, but you would also think about what you heard via the media?
Correct.
Okay. No other questions?
Any questions, counsel?
No, Judge.
Thank you, sir. You may step out.
Judge, I would move to strike Juror number 50 for cause based on his responses to questions.
No objection. Without objection, on the motion of the defense, number 50 is struck for cause. Okay, counsel, let's take a moment. We've reached 50 of the initial 100, and I'm aware of the time. I'm inclined to go ahead and bring an abundance of caution, have bring in everyone that remains out there, including 50 that the second 50 plus those that have not been excused at this point. Advise them to be back here in the morning at 8:30. Give them the cautionary notes about not reading about it, not talking about it, and all the other normal instructions. I'll then send them home, and then right after that, I guess we discuss and the other prospective jurors that have already been sent home and asked to return. Is that acceptable?
Yes, sir. Yes, Judge.